Hello, my name is Michael James, and I own MADCO Photography. Recently, I've joined forces with Don and Shirley, who own Ely Central Theater. And together, we have formed MADCO Media Group. In the near future, I will be doing a video introducing Don and Shirley from the theater. They're great people. They've been in the theater business for quite some time, and they've been in this community as well for quite some time. So right now, I am doing my first video. This is actually my very first production, and I apologize in advance for the mistakes I'm going to make. But I will get better. I watch YouTube and have been watching YouTube for quite some time now. My favorite genre, of course, is camera and video world. I'm just now learning the video side of it, and if you're going to be a photographer today, you have to know both. You have to be able to take a still shot, and you need to be able to learn how to do video. It's called hybrid shooting. And there's a lot of cameras out there that offer the hybrid combination, but I'm here to tell you that some of the stuff I've been hearing is crap. And I couldn't have said it in any better words. There's so much stuff that's floating around social media about certain cameras that are very incorrect. And I am going to start talking about it on YouTube, because I want people to understand that cameras are just a tool for you to do your job. You should be able to, if you're a photographer, you should be able to use any camera and get some results. The reason I use Nikon cameras is very simple. When I take pictures for somebody, when I do anything for anybody that requires a camera, they don't come up to me and ask me, "Are you shooting with a DSLR? Are you shooting with a mirrorless? What kind of lens do you have? What kind of cards do you have? Do you have more than one?" They don't care. The clients and the people that want professional photography don't care what you use. If you are honest and you go out there and do what you do as far as taking a photograph, and people like it, that's going to tell you if you should stay in the business or not. Photography is not easy. It isn't easy. You have to take the time to be able to duplicate what somebody wants. Say they want a shallow depth of field. Say they want everything in focus. Say they want whatever the client decides they want to have out of a photography session. You got to be able to perform. And when it's all said and done, and you sit down with the client and you show them what you've done, and you see that look on your face, That should tell you if you have the right camera or not. That should tell you if you are a photographer or not. If you take pictures and the people look at it and then they never call you again, or they don't order anything, or they don't book you, and you need to work harder. You need to try doing things different. I have no problem helping people. I hold no secrets. I've always told people, don't talk to me unless you want to hear the truth. If the truth hurts, I'm going to be honest. If it's good, I'm going to tell you it's good. If it's bad, I'm going to tell you it's bad. But in the same sense, I'm going to try to help you change the bad to the good. Photography today, the cameras. Let's talk about one thing, eye autofocus. Oh my gosh, what's going on? Eye autofocus, you're telling me the camera's going to sit there and do everything for you, focus on the eye and track it. All you got to do is press a button. The next thing they want is you want it to push the shutter button for you too? You know, it's ridiculous. Eye autofocus is not that important. 2 cards slots are not that important. I've seen people take a $200 camera and take breathtaking photos, and it can be done. When somebody comes to me and they say, I want to learn photography, the first thing I tell them is to let's find a camera for you. You know, between Canon, Nikon, Sony, Fuji, you know, those probably are the basic 4 that I would stick with right now. But you can find a $200-300 camera out there with a lens to start honing your skills and learning photography. And then you can decide what you want to buy. Nikon lately has got some bad raps from quite a few number of people, influencers, social media people that have $50,000-$60,000 worth of gear. It just burns me to sit and listen to all this stuff. That it's no good. 2 years ago, or a little over 2 years ago, Nikon had the best cameras in the world, DSLR cameras. And everybody that was anybody had one, D5, D4, D850, D800, D810, D750, D500, now there's a camera. The D500 has the same focusing system as a D850. It's an APS-C camera, and that camera can take a picture. That's my favorite camera right now. Matter of fact, I sold my D810 and I kept my D500 just because I'm comfortable with my D500. I'm filming on the D500 now. I sold the D810 and I made a mistake that I'm going to try to help others not make. I listened to all the stories out there about the mirrorless cameras and what they can do and how great they are, and that this one particular camera is the greatest camera on the planet. The focus system is amazing. So I sold my D810 and I bought a used Sony a7 III. I bought it bundled with a 2470 f2.8, and I got a really good deal on it. So I was really excited to try the new system. I said, I figure if I'm going to switch systems, might as well start now in the mirrorless world. And I definitely didn't want to do like I did with film cameras. When the film cameras started dying, I waited too long to move to digital. So I'm not going to do that with mirrorless. I'm going to get into mirrorless and learn it. So anyway, I got this Sony a7 III, and the package showed up. And I noticed right away that the package was real light. Well, okay, it's light, that's great. I open it up, and there's the lens in one box, the camera in another, and the lens was bigger than the camera. So I put the lens on the camera and I held it in my hands, and right away I was uncomfortable. It was like I was holding the camera like this. Man, that's small. Man, that's small. My son calls my hands sausage fingers. So you can tell right away it ain't gonna work with a small camera. It just wasn't comfortable. I wasn't happy with it, but you know, I was gonna give it the benefit of the doubt, and I'm gonna try it out. So for the next couple weeks, I proceeded to use this camera and take pictures, and the camera does have some pretty good things about it. I mean, the focus system is good. Eye autofocus, I don't think it was as great as everybody was making it out to be. But I'm here to tell you, if you're going to be a photographer and you want to learn how to be able to go out in the real world, in a real shoot, and when something goes wrong with your camera where the eye autofocus isn't going to work, you need to be able to take a picture still. My favorite focusing strategy on a camera is focus and recompose. It's been around for a long time. And you focus on a subject and then you compose it. And when I do that, I get into a rhythm, a really neat rhythm. It feels good. It's like bowling or like golfing. When you get in a rhythm, ain't nothing gonna stop you. There's some people out there that really don't have a lot of nice things to say about Nikon cameras, and I listened to it, and I was a fool. And I'm not saying Nikon's the best camera in the world. And then people, you can call me a Nikon fanboy. I could really care less. I'm not a fanboy of anything. I'm a fanboy of a camera that makes me look good. When I take pictures with the camera and the people see the photos, they have to have them. Well, when I was shooting with this Sony, it was taking great pictures. I was getting good focus. I was getting good sharpness. It was okay. It was until I took the SD card out and put it in the computer and went to process the photos. It really made my decision to put that camera back up for sale and get rid of it. It wasn't for me. For some reason, when you process photos, that's something that you need to learn too. If you're going to become a photographer, you need to process your own photos. I had my own presets. Well, the presets that I had would not work on these photos. So I spent a couple days trying to make new ones or adjustments to get what I want, but the color science just wasn't there. The colors, the dark colors, had greenish tint. The skin tones were noticeably different, and I just said I've come too far with processing photographs that I'm not going to try to start all over. So I then decided that I was going to resell that camera and get rid of it. It just wasn't for me. I'm not saying it's not right for you. I'm just saying that if you go out and you decide, hey, I'm going to be a photographer, I want to be a photographer, that's great. If you buy the wrong camera system, it could really destroy your chances of being that great photographer you want to be. You can't listen to just one person. My suggestion is to listen to people that actually take photographs. Talk to people that actually take photographs and process their own photos. They don't send them to somebody else to process them, or they don't pay somebody else to do the touch-up work. You need to learn to do it yourself, and I'm willing to help anybody with that genre of photography, is to learn how and what the right photo editing software is right for you. I want to talk about a man that I respect a lot on YouTube, and his name is Matt Irwin. Matt Irwin Photography is his channel. Now, this guy's story about how he ended up with a Nikon is pretty interesting. You gotta watch his channel because he's got a lot to say, and I trust what he has to say. He said when he was a kid, he was shooting with a Pentax system, and he enjoyed it, and he took good pictures. Some of his pictures are still being bought that was taken with that Pentax system. Well, now he decides he wants to up his game. So at that time, I don't even think Sony was in the game that long ago. But he looked at Canon, and he looked at Nikon, and I think he looked at Panasonic, whatever. Just the main decisions was between Canon and Nikon. Well, on the Canon camera, the front dial to change your aperture is on the top. It's not in the front. And when he was holding the camera in his hand, it just didn't feel comfortable. So once he got the Nikon, as soon as he put the Nikon in his hand, it was like he found his home. Said, this camera's amazing. It fits my hand perfectly. The front dial, the rear dial, the shutter button, the ISO, everything was just within a hand. You could shoot one-handed with the camera. And he was really happy with it, and that's how he became a Nikon shooter. And to this day, he is shooting the Z system, and he is very happy. He had bought a Sony A7R, and I think one other, but you know, he's a Nikon guy, and he'll tell you his reasons why. I think I've told you my reasons why I'm a Nikon guy is because the people like my pictures when they're Nikon files. They like the photograph. So I'm going to shoot Nikon. Now there's another guy out there. He's another guy I respect a great deal. His name is Ike. His channel's called Photo Me Ike. That man is the baddest dude on the planet. He takes more pictures of women than any photographer I know. And I'm talking women come from everywhere to get him to take their picture. He's amazing. If you want to know how good a photographer you are, take a picture of a woman and show it to her. She'll let you know. Or here's even better. A woman calls you and tells you, you know, she wants a demo shoot, and you do a demo shoot for her, and she looks at the photographs, and she says, I'll call you. Well, guess what? She never calls, because a lot of women, they won't tell you what they don't like. They just won't call you back, and they won't book you. So, Photo Me Ike is also shoots with a Nikon, and he's tested a Canon, he's tested Sony, he is genuinely a Nikon shooter, and he likes it. That man could go into Big Mama's house, take pictures, and come out of there with tons of clients, and everybody'd be smiling. Dude's a bad dude, man. He's a bad dude. Sorry, Francisco, but he's got you beat. You want to find out how good the photography are, just take some pictures of women. That'll let you know exactly how good or bad you are. Now, the genre that Matt Irwin shoots in is, he's an artist. That guy's an artist. He don't take pictures of too many people. He takes pictures of things and places. Matter of fact, most of his photographs are of Australia, Melbourne. And he loves it. And you can see his passion in what he's talking about. Me, I love people. I love shooting people. The expression on their faces, I just love shooting people. Kids, animals. I love shooting those types of subjects. And people have said I'm pretty good at it. I don't, if somebody comes up to me and says, "Are you a professional photographer?" I said, "I don't know. So I got a bunch of pictures you can look at, and you tell me what." And they said, "Well, do you have a portfolio?" I said, "No, I don't have a portfolio. I have a bunch of pictures of people that you want to look at them. You can call it my portfolio, but one thing I got to say is, how do you know that those are mine? You look at a portfolio, how do you know those pictures aren't fabricated? How do you know those pictures can even be duplicated? If you want me to answer your question, ask me to take your picture and then look at the photographs, and then you answer your own question. Am I a professional photographer? You decide. Do I have a nice portfolio? Well, if it's a picture of you and you like it, it's a pretty good portfolio if you ask me. So in my years of doing this and becoming a photographer, I've always done that. Is you want to book me? You want to talk price? You want to talk anything? I won't do anything till you make time for a demo shoot so that you can look at the photographs. Because I don't want to sit here on somebody's wedding day and say that I can take your picture and then come in there and then they don't like it. I want them to see my photographs up front, and I don't want them to see my photographs of somebody else's wedding. I don't want them to see my photographs of some other strangers. I want them to see the photographs of them. Okay. Did you ever see the movie? Came out quite a long time ago. It was called Godzilla. Well, Godzilla is going to come back. And they're over there in that ocean somewhere near the Nikon factory. And the Nikon factory is going to become Godzilla. And they're going to come back and prove to everybody just what a monster they are. They are going to tear up the camera world. Matter of fact, their new camera, their professional camera, will probably be called the Z9G. Yes, the Z9 Godzilla. And I can't wait. Because all these people that have been talking so much crap about Nikons, I'm going to just be in heaven. Let me ask you a question. Nikon came in late to the mirrorless world, and people can say that. That's the truth. But they came in with their first detachable lens mirrorless camera bodies was the Z6 and the Z7. Well, the Z6 and the Z7, when they first came out, it had their problems, and rightly so. The firmware needed to be updated, and they needed to get it figured out, and they were doing it. There's so many of these influencers on Facebook and YouTube and social media talking about Nikon's autofocusing system and how bad it is. And they'll compare it to a Sony a7 III. That's the one I bought because that's what I saw. And there's one important thing about the name of that camera. It's an a7 III. 3. That's version 3. So they're taking a version 3 camera and comparing to a first run Nikon Z6. And I think they compared the Z7 to the A7R4 or A7R3, version 3 or 4. Still unfair. But we're going to stick to the Z6 for now. So they compare it to the A7 III, and they talk all about how bad the Nikon is. And it was so unfair. It was honestly the most unfair thing I've seen in a long time, because Nikon was getting chewed up for actually a misrepresented statement. If you take an A7, the original A7, and you compare it to the Nikon Z6, the Z6 makes the A7 look stupid. It had overheating problems, battery died too quick, tons of issues, tons. If you want to compare apples to apples, I don't have a problem with it. But when you're comparing an apple to an orange, now you're lying. It's not right. Now, Nikon has brought out quite a few firmware updates to the Z systems, and the the Z6 is at version 3.01 or whatever it might be. It's a good camera. I had a friend lend me that camera, and I used it for a month. I played with it for a month, and took pictures with it. I had no autofocusing problems. I had no problems with the camera whatsoever. I'd love to own an A6 II that's coming out, but I can't afford it. So I'm going to get me a Z6. I'm going to get me a Z6, not a Z6 II. And another thing on these Z system cameras that they were showing people on YouTube is they'd take that F to Z adapter and they'd put it on the camera, and they'd use a third-party lens like a Tamron lens on an F to Z adapter to a Z system camera. Well, your cameras that were DSLRs that had the mirror, they have an entirely different focus system than the mirrorless systems. And those lenses, the F-mount lenses, were made for F-mount cameras. And I thought it was nice. Nikon made the F to Z adapter so you can adapt your F lenses from your original Nikon system. I thought that was nice. But come to find out, when you adapt an F-mount lens to a Z-mount lens, never mind a third party, you disable half the focus system of the Z camera. The Z camera now just becomes a phase detect autofocus instead of a phase detect, contrast detect autofocusing system. Mind you, no one wanted to tell you that, but it's the truth. If you want to find out how good a Nikon camera is, you have to use a Z lens. You can use the f4s, you can use that 50 f1.8, you can use the 2.8s, 24 to 70, 70 to 200, you can use 35, 1.8. They're coming out with a 50 1.2. I don't recommend that lens just yet. I'm sure it's a great lens, but it's just a little too much bokeh for me. I'd rather do a camera that's a little less bokeh, a little more subject. So my sweet spot is usually somewhere around f2 to f4, maybe sometimes 5.6. It's a large group. But you got to you gotta listen to some of these people. There's a lot of people out there. If you're interested in Canon, listen to what people have to say about Canon. Listen to people that are actually out there taking pictures. If you want a Sony, listen to people that take pictures with Sony. There's a lot of them out there. I personally don't recommend Sony at all, just because of the fact of what I've seen. And I know they've fixed a lot of their things, but it's just, Nikon's been around 100 years, somewhere in around there. Almost 7 generations of my family, my great-great-grandfather, my great-grandfather, my father, God bless them, they've all passed, myself, my son, and now my grandson, who is 12 years old. Nikon's been around for all of these, damn near 7 generations of family. And I'm not going to sit here and listen to a camera that's been around for a few years. Nobody can take away from what Canon and Nikon has done in the camera world. And Canon just did it. They came back. Right now, I think Canon has got the best focusing system out there. I'm disappointed with their video, but I'm happy with Z6 video and stills. You want a good hybrid camera where you can go out and do video, and you can go out and do pictures, all at top level, professional. The Nikon Z system is the camera, and it will do nothing but get better. Well, that's it for now. I'm gonna be talking a lot about what's been going on and what's been said. This was just a little bit of a taste. If you have any questions, leave them down below. I will answer them as soon as I can, depending on how many I may get. But I'll do my best to answer each and every one of them. All my contact information is on my YouTube page, and I'm really excited about this YouTube page. I hope you all are as excited as I am. We're going to be putting some truth out there in this world, and we're gonna stop cutting down companies just because they're falling behind a little bit. You know, there's people on YouTube now talking about profit and losses. They're talking about big layoffs. Why are you talking about Nikon's business? It's none of your business to be talking about it. Let's talk about companies in general. All companies are doing bad right now. We have a pandemic going on. It's called COVID-19. Now, it's hurt everybody, not just Nikon. They're making it seem like Nikon is going to belly up. No. If you know anything about the Asian culture, they're a proud group of people. I love them. They're not going anywhere. They're going to downsize, and rightly so. And so should a lot of other companies. But they're going to come back swinging, and they're going to come back just like they've always been. One of the best cameras in the world. My name is Mike James, and I take photographs. I'll be seeing you soon.